Welcome back to the Fight Plan Podcast, where, as always, we have a treat for you. Triston Grant, a true heavyweight jungle monster. Yes, he got some NHL games. He's got that on his handle. He's got that on his mantle. But this guy was a warrior, an absolute warrior who did everything and anything for his team to win. You needed a leader? Check. You need a guy who could score a goal? Check. Block a shot with his face? Not even go down? Wait till you hear this. Check. Okay. Triston Grant scared the shit out of me my rookie year pro. And there's good reason why. Whoa, fight fans, slow down. I know we're excited about the episode. I am too. But I have a book update for you. And I know it was April and then it was June, but now it's the first week of September. And after my mama gets back from Scotland and her trip, September 2nd. I'm not doing this thing more than once. I am doing it right. I'm not even making these decisions. But I promise you, it'll be worth the wait. Namaste, fellow waves. In the ocean of loving consciousness, namaste. And we're back for more. Fights on the ice, yes. But more importantly, fights off the ice. And we have a perfect guest for that today. Okay, so we're in this PHPA, the Players Union for the AHL on the East Coast. We're in this email chain together with all a bunch of former tough guys, other players, but a lot of tough guys because we go through a lot of shit in retirement, okay? We did this role, we translate out. It's a little different, it's a little different than the average hockey player. So Trevor Gillies is on this chain, Triston Grant, a bunch of different guys. And Granter actually saw my name get added to the list. And I don't get to go to the calls because I live stream on Wednesdays, but he doesn't get to go either with his daughters and his busy life. So he reached out to me and he's like, hey man, love what you're doing. I'd love to come on the pod. And are you kidding me? I'm not turning anybody away, let alone an absolute monster who scared the shit out of me off this podcast. He's clearly willing to be vulnerable. Let's find out where he's at. Let's find out where he's at in his fight plan. We had one on the ice. He certainly knew what he was doing on the ice. And we have one off the ice. Sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes it's conscious. Sometimes there's different reasons that inspire us through the dark times to that light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm very excited about this one. He's won a Calder Cup. Oh, man. Like, for a guy like me who didn't get to play much pro hockey in the playoffs, kind of jealous. He did it with Jeff Hogan, a guy I played with. First Calder Cup in franchise history. He lives there now. Talk about a local legend. Triston Grant, everyone. You're going to want to put some Vaseline on your face for this one. Tape up the wrist because he is not slowing down. He's coming at you. He's trying to bite your nose off in fights. He didn't have a long reach. He's going to throw both hands. He's just going to mess you up. So hope you're ready for this one. Triston Grant, everyone. Nama fucking stay, Triston Grant. Brother, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's kind of weird how this happened. I just saw your page and everything, and I was just like, man, this sounds great. And I didn't like I said with the message, I didn't mean to invite myself, but I think it's great what you're trying to do here. So,
dude, you fucking kidding me? This is exactly what I wanted to happen. I wanted to have Chris Thorburn on first, one of the most respected guys to do the damn thing, right? And then to the boys see that and go, holy fuck, this looks awesome.
Yeah.
So, man, I got to start this right off the bat because I'm in my rookie year fucking pro. I'm not even 22 years old. We're in Milwaukee, okay? And I'm in warm-up, and I'm looking at this veteran grizzly bear on the other team just skating around, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I did my homework the night before. You're on pace for 26 points that year. You've won a cup in the Calder. You've played in the NHL. You throw both hands. You come from, like I did my homework, you come from Neepewa, Manitoba, the lily capital of the world, but there's nothing floral about your game, brother. You're a fucking animal. So I'm just like, I'm taking a little off the gas tonight. I'm not going to finish every check as hard. I don't want any part of that. And it scared the shit out of me, man. Seriously, I wasn't ready for the big boys like you my first year. So when I say all that, what comes up for you right now?
Oh man, we had heavy teams in Milwaukee too. So if one guy was sleeping, there's at least some other guy that was probably awake. So yeah, that was that was there was some heavy teams. We had, the second tour duty that I did in Milwaukee. We had like Rich Clune, we had Mike Liambis, we had a young Diaby, a couple other guys, and then like my first time in Milwaukee, we had like Scott Ford and Nolan Yonkman, um, Kelsey Wilson. We had a bunch of meat grinders as well. So yeah, I know it's that 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 was such a tough division too, with Rockford and Grand Rapids and Milwaukee and Iowa and Chicago. He's had meatheads too, though. But it was good. It was good. Those are good times for sure.
Fucking crazy times, man.
Yeah,
I'm like 21, 20-year-old, 2-year-old kid, and we got to go on that trek. We got to go up to Milwaukee, through Grand Rapids, down to Chicago and back. And you're just thinking, fuck, you're getting home at 4 in the morning. The wind's whipping off the bus in Iowa. You got pizza peeled off the
yeah,
floor. You're just like, what the fuck am I doing? But this is the grind.
yeah. No, it was crazy. When I came into the league, I was in Philadelphia, and that was that was something different. That made like that Milwaukee Rockford division look like Pee Wee hockey. Like we would play like Hershey, Wilkes-Barre, Norfolk, and I don't know who was Binghamton. They all had like, we had like Bonvie, and then we had like Derek England and Hershey, and just like the Norfolk had like a bunch of meatheads too. Like it was just absolutely insane. It was just like, and you play like 3-3, so you play like Bengal Friday at home, Hershey on the road on Saturday, and you're home against Wilkes-Barre on Sunday, and it was just like, looking back now, it was just, and I actually, after I like played with a bunch of guys, it's like, dude, like we used to hate going into the Spectrum, uh, back in the day, and like, every team had like 4 or 5 tough guys. Like when I was in Philly, we had like Josh Gratton, me, Riley Cote, yeah, like Wade Skolny, Ben Eager. Like it was crazy. It was. Some days I wonder how I survived for sure. But
Dude, honestly, man, honestly, I'm looking through the fights, I'm looking through your journey, and now I got to know, like, Neepewa, Manitoba, 2 hours west of of Winnipeg, you got 5,000 people. Like, what was the childhood of Triston Grant that got you to down there at the Spectrum, able to handle the jungle of the jungle? Like, take me back to childhood and what made you growing up.
yeah, it was this. Well, it's actually pronounced Neepewa.
Okay,
Neepewa.
yeah, oh,
Neepewa. That's right.
drill me on
That's
it.
right. No, I won't. But no, it's funny. No, it's no, I just, I was just born and raised in a small town, and everyone was like, it's a small farming community and small businesses, and my dad was a truck driver, my mom was a dog groomer, and I grew up with all my grandparents and great grandparents, and I had a younger sister, and all my I went to school with like the same people from kindergarten to the people I graduated in high school, like the same group of friends. I played with the same group of friends in hockey and golf and baseball and soccer and everything. It was just a really tight knit um, community, and it was great. Like we weren't just always like self absorbed in hockey. It was everything. We were fishing and getting in trouble. We're building tree houses and just raising hell nonstop. And I was truly blessed, kind of being growing up at a time that my friends and I could leave 8 o'clock in the morning during a summer day. Then like my parents not really worried that I was back by dinner time by 6 p.m. Like that's why I really feel bad about my two daughters now. Like we don't really live in a world like that anymore, and it really kind of breaks my heart. But I was truly blessed with that, and all my friends and we were all like great athletes, but I just kind of excelled. I was a lot of my friends are all big boys too, and all tall and everything. But I filled out pretty quickly. Like by the time I was like 14, 15 years old, I was already like 6'1", like 200 pounds. So I was, I was like, I was like meat and potatoes since day one. So, and that really kind of helped, kind of shape the path I could have chose to took, for the next 20 some years anyways. So
No
that's what it
kidding.
was. Yeah.
No kidding, dude. That is a unit at that age. I was probably pushing like 6'2", a buck 20, like
Yeah.
130, dude. Like
Oh yeah.
so so with that group raising hell and just going out into the world in a small town, getting in trouble, having fun, was the toughness always there, or was that something that got that upbringing bred into you, or was it something that hockey brought out of you?
No, that was always there. That was always there. I didn't have older brothers, but there's some other tough kids in town, and I wasn't really. I wouldn't say I was a bully. I was kind of more of a bully beater upper guy, like. And I have to be honest, like I definitely had a mouth that kind of couldn't always cash checks as well. So I probably got it as well, But I was just kind of always, and I was always kind of sticking up for friends of that too. And I always kind of had. I also kind of had like a short temper, kind of wires crossed pretty early when I was a kid too. But I don't, I don't know, like That's what it was like in a small town. Usually, like, if we're having a fight at recess, we're usually playing football together or going over to their house to play, like days later and stuff like that. So it was like obviously, like I said, it was a different time in the world, and really no hard feelings. I ran into multiple these guys that were a couple years older than me. That we got in fights all the time, and we're all just adults. We'll all laugh about it now, and there's really no hard. We can't even remember what we were fighting about. It was nothing. It was all pretty like petty stuff, but yeah, that kind of just like from early age, I didn't really take any kind of shit. So always kind of stuck up for myself and my friends. So
Fucking impressive, man. It's fucking impressive. I mean, I had that same kind of being a teacher's son. I looked after people, but being in the city where we didn't get to run around like hellions, it was never getting to that point where you guys kind of got to get away with it. You're an older generation. The
mm,
phones weren't as prevalent. You got to really
yeah.
go after it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, it was a different generation. It was a small town. Everyone knew who their dad was or where they worked, and like it was a very small town. Like you could bike from one side of the town to the other in 10, 12 minutes. So it was just kind of like we had a small school, and everybody, like I said, everybody knew everybody, and everyone was kind of forced to get along and everything. Usually, like in those younger groups of kids, everyone kind of sorts some things out, and there's a pecking order, and it's kind of like kind of just how it was. So it was kind of
Right.
really no harm or no foul. I've kind of ran into a couple old principals and teachers back then. They kind of told me stories about it. It's like, hey, Tristan, one time I walked around the corner during recess, and you're just beating the piss out of this one kid, but he really deserved it. And so I turned around and I let him have it for a couple more seconds. Then they kind of broke it up, and so like I said, it was a different time in the world there. But I was obviously just blessed, and it's all good that we go laugh about it now.
Absolutely. Well, that was your saving grace that, hey, the kid kind of deserved it. So you kind of got to do the little bit extra damage. But it seems like you weren't afraid, as you said, to take that on the ice with the Neepewa natives, MJHL, 34 games, 106 PIMs stepping into junior. Not afraid from day one at 16. What were you pushing at 16 years old?
Oh yeah, I was probably like 6'1", 205, 210. Like I was it was kind of that was a weird time because I went out to Lethbridge. I was drafted by Lethbridge in the Bantam draft there, and I went out in camp there. Didn't make the team. At this time, I was still like a pretty skilled player. Not like I wasn't during any part of my career, but um, so when I got released by Lethbridge, I went back and actually played AAA midget for a couple weeks, and I kind of just I don't know. I didn't really feel challenged. I think I played a couple of weekends with the AAA team, and at this time, I've already played 2 years of AAA because I played as an underage as like a 14-year-old in the AAA midget league, and um, I just didn't feel like that was the best part of my game. Looking back at it now, I probably wish I would have stayed, and it would have been amazing to put up like 30 some goals that year in AAA midget instead of putting up 30 some fights in
Yeah.
junior. But but you know what? I made a choice, and then I just kind of that was just kind of what my role was from the beginning. I just wasn't really afraid, like at that time you're so young and dumb, you don't know any better as well. So like, like I was fighting a lot of the 20-year-olds in that league too, and I was, like I was a brick, so like I was hitting guys, and I was running guys through the boards, and I definitely wasn't doing much offensively, but I was definitely I was definitely eager to kind of climb myself to the top of the mountain right away as at that age, and I felt like I did a pretty good job doing that in the first part of that season I had with the Neepewa natives. So
Fuck yeah, you did, brother. And 23 games with Lethbridge as a 16-year-old, 75 pims. You weren't scared, brother. Holy fucking shit. And then you come back and you just pick it up. I mean, you have a great start with Lethbridge, your draft year, it looks like. Then you go over to Vancouver. Did you get hurt a bit that year or something? But you still had crazy amount of pims.
yeah, I think I probably had like a broken hand or something like that. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. There's been so many of them, but yeah, I know. Like, I got I got called up from the junior A because Lethbridge was in town playing Brandon, which Brandon's only 45 minutes away from Neepewa, and then like my assistant coach of Lethbridge, Michael Deck, he's like, how many majors have you had this year? And this was like before Christmas. So I was like, I don't know, I think I had like 20 22, and he's just like, okay, like so, and then I end up having like a fight in Brandon that night against like one of their 20-year-olds. Actually, guy ended up playing in Philadelphia with Wade Skolney. Ended up doing really well, and then I was out in Lethbridge about a week later, full time. So that was kind of my movement, and I just kind of kept it going. Like I said, I was just like, I had this like disgusting like Vince Neil like goatee, and I had this bleached like long surfer hair, and I just like I had like really bad feet and bad hands, and like, but I made it work, and I just kind of I just played physical, played hard, and just kind of stuck up and got my nose dirty. So it's just, yeah, it was as a young guy, you challenge yourself. There's like times I definitely took a licking here and there, but at that age you kind of just dust yourself off and you just kind of keep going.
Hey, fucking men, brother. You sure did. I mean, 267 pims, 69 games that year, 33 tilts. That is awesome. I can't believe you only went in the ninth round, though. I know they had so many rounds back then, but you think from coming in at 16, playing that way, and then adding the touch to the game a little bit, I'm surprised you went that late, but I guess they were just always sexied up about the points back then, right? They just found the tough guys in later rounds.
Yeah, nobody was really worried about being taken that low. Yeah, and I got drafted as an overager too. So,
Yeah, so
um,
did I. Yeah, there you go.
um, no, but like, yeah, my game kind of evolved. My game more rounded out later in my junior career. Um, Obviously, like, just kind of was lacking some hockey IQ. Had all the tools, but just couldn't put it together. And but like I had, the Vancouver Giants were really good to me. They really stuck with me and everything. And I put in some serious work to get in better shape,
Mm.
and we had a really young teams in Vancouver too, and everything, and some really good young players. And that was a tough league too as well. That was a tough division. We had lots of tough guys out of Kamloops, and in the U.S. division as well. So that was just like, oh man, a lot of time on the buses and everything. But yeah, those junior years definitely shaped how things would end up going for my professional career as well. So
Well, no kidding. You went like across the damn country pretty much. Like you're over there in Manitoba, you're playing out on the West Coast. What was that like moving away at a young age? What was that like for you? On the ice, you're taking on all comers. What was it like off the ice?
I was kind of ready to go since day one. At that age, like, and I tell young players that at it now, and when I talk to parents with young players, I'm just like, dude, like this is how it has to be. And like I was so fucking obsessed with hockey during like that my early teenager years. Like I was playing, like I was shooting pucks on my barn. I'm playing street hockey. Like I'm driving into like Brandon and Winnipeg to go skate because we didn't have ice out in Royal Manitoba. Um, and like I'm playing hockey on Nintendo and Sega Genesis, man, and I'm like watching it all the time. If we had like YouTube back then, I probably would have been watching on the computer as well. But like I was like eating, breathing, everything was about hockey. Like I lived in a big acreage too, and always had like a hockey stick in my hand. So it was just so like second nature for me. Just that was my obsession, and I feel like that's just kind of how it needs to be. And I think it's obviously a little bit different now with today's game because I think these kids are on like the ice like
Yeah.
24/7, which is seems kind of extreme to me. But yeah, like I was definitely obsessed with it 100%. So it,
You
it
would have
was
been out there at 365 now if you were playing. And I
yeah,
was talking
probably yeah.
exactly right. And I was talking to Darcy Tucker. It was so cool to get to meet Tux at a Hockey Helps the Homeless event. We're sitting there near the end of the night, and he's just like the fire in his eyes is still burning. He's just looking at me, Gabes, and he's like, he told the story to the whole charity that night, but he was talking about it again. He's like, you hear that story I told? Like, I wake up and my dad goes, see that pile of rocks in that corner of the field? Yeah, put them on the other opposite corner of the field. And you wake up the next day and his dad would be like, see that pile of rocks you moved yesterday? Yeah, put them back on that other side of the fucking field. And he's just like, Gabe's like, these kids don't get it. They do not get that you can be obsessed and like hockey, but you have to be fucking obsessed. And whether it's university, whether it's whatever, you want to be successful, it has to be burning in you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, no, for sure. Yeah, like we had some livestock too growing up. We always had chickens and pigs, and we always had to do these chores. And we had a wood fire burner in my house too. So like in the summer, we're always like cutting wood and chopping wood and stacking wood, like and we were always building our own things. And like we had like our garden as well. Like always had to go dig up potatoes and pull weeds out of the garden. And we had horses, and then my grandparents lived a half mile down the road. And there's more grass to be cut. And there was just like my friend Bryce lived another half hour or half mile down the road, and we had a bunch of chores we had to do there. We had to clean out all the birthing cages and everything when the calves are born. And like there's always like hard labor to doing. So like doing it now or doing it later on, it definitely kind of shaped my work ethic for sure.
For sure. And it's not like you didn't hate it, but you're like, fuck, I want to get out of here and go play some hockey now. So I don't have
Yeah,
to do the damn
absolutely,
chores.
for sure. Yeah,
So then
100%.
you go, you get drafted by Philly. Fucking, you must have been like, this is perfect for me. You go playing down the Spectrum, the Phantoms. You're a rookie pro, and you're just again not fucking scared, brother. What was that first year pro like? What was that like going down there? Like I just described, talking about you in warm up. What are you seeing, and what do you think in that first warm up, preseason, training camp?
You know what? Actually, like going back, it was kind of a weird time because Philadelphia they just won the Calder Cup, so we had like they had a pretty deep team of guys. I didn't really know what was going to happen. I felt like maybe I think the Trenton Titans were like the East Coast team at the time. Like I wasn't sure, but like I think I ended up fighting Mike Scroy in like my first preseason game, and Mike like dropped me, but I got right back up and went and finished the game hard, finished some checks, and I had a great preseason. I think I just had a bunch of fights and hits and played hard and um end up making the team. I think like I think my very first pro game was in the Wilkes-Barre,
Oh,
and like Carcillo was there, Bissonette was there, Bonvie was there, Karkner was there, a bunch of old other like Grizzly vets, and there was like almost a fight in warm-ups. Like so I'm like after warm-ups I'm like, holy shit. I was like, is this what this league's really all about? And then like we got the game notes and everything, and Josh Gratton's. There's me and Josh and Cote. We're all like surrounded this game. She's like, Gratz is like, all right, you're gonna fight this guy. Then I'm gonna fight this guy. Then Rouse, you're gonna fight this guy. And then that's kind of how it was. It was just like, I'm like, all right, like here we go, and that's kind of just how it was. But yeah, that very first game was in Wilkes-Barre, and there's almost like a brawl in warm-ups. So I was just like, wow, this is pretty intense. So no, it was, but it's like looking back, it was like so much fun. Like it was just like we're going to war here. So it was so much fun. It's so many great stories as well. So
Dude, it's just wild. That Lehigh Valley Wilkes Hershey rivalry. It's just different, man. And that season you went in against Wilkes. You're going Welch, you're going Bonvie twice, England, England's on Hershey, you got
mm,
Carcillo there. Like, dude, I watched your one with Bonvie. It was kind of his swan song. You guys were just switching back and forth, cracking each other in the
yeah,
chin. Dude, have you always been able to throw both hands like that?
I've broken my thumb so many times, so I just had to like alternate back and forth, and I was just kind of more like a brawler like that. I was just kind of like, all right, let's just get as many punches in as we possibly can, and we'll just see how this goes. So I just was I just like, not like I didn't have a short reach, but I didn't really have a long reach, and maybe it's just my ADHD, but I couldn't be patient enough to like just like string out like a traditional hockey fight. That just wasn't my style. Like to me, it was boring. I'm just like, I didn't care to like just do this old like throw a punch, then like dodge another one, then like I just wanted to get in there and like whatever. I didn't really care. Like I had a good enough chin that I could like get in there and take a couple. And then I was just like, I was trying to like bite this guy's nose off. So like that's kind of what I want to do, and sometimes it worked, and sometimes you get caught, but you kind of keep going. So
Holy fuck, brother. You just totally broke down while I was terrified to fight you. I mean, Mike Lambus, what I always say, was like arguably the toughest guy to fight because he was so short and strong and he wanted to bite your nose off. You were just a bigger fucking version of
yeah,
that. Like, fuck, dude. Like, you just keep going. You're just switching, switching, switching. You're just, like you said, right up in a guy's grill. And I I wish I could have been like you. I had the reach, but I didn't have the strength, right? So I was always going technique and willpower, and I was trying to keep it exciting too. I hated when guys strung me out and I couldn't get past. I'd rather lose a fight and have it exciting than win
yeah,
some like boring ass strung out fight. So I respected that from you a lot because you didn't give a fuck who it was, brother. You were standing
yeah.
in there.
I didn't like doing that. That for me, that was just boring, and that just wasn't like I was trying to like hurt guys to make sure they would never want to fight me again. That's was kind of
Exactly.
like my mentality was, and like I don't know that I've had to do that a couple times just for survival reasons. I had to string guys out and protect myself a little bit more, but like no, I was just trying to get in there, and I worked on the techniques really early in my career too. I had a really good grip and I had really good hand positioning, and I was able to switch and um, I could always get loose, and I just knew how to tie guys up. So I was like really like I had it ingrained in my mindset that I didn't take a lot of damage unless I really wanted to. But if I could tie up anybody, and I felt really really confident with like having to protect myself when I really had to. And I just had I had big hands too, and I was able to just grip on, and I just knew what I was doing, and I just did that through repetition, doing it for so many times. I think by the time I played before I played pro, like I already had like probably like over 100 fights from juniors already. So I was pretty like seasoned, by the time to turn pro. But like not, but saying that, like now you're fighting guys that have been playing pro 12, 13, 14 years, and but I at least I had the repetitions in for sure, and I felt pretty confident going into as a pro. That I was like, I think I'm gonna be okay. So
Yeah, you looked it, man. You looked it from watching your fights. Like most guys, like don't have as exciting as fights you do. All the ratings. I wish they had all your fights on. I could have watched all of them, but all of them are high ratings. All of them are always long. The fans are cheering loud. I loved it. So your first 2 years in the minors pretty much identical, but you doubled your points the second year, and then you get called up in that 06, 07 year with the Philadelphia Flyers. Take us to the first game for the fucking Broad Street Bullies.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was pretty early in the season. I think it was only maybe a couple weeks, and Philadelphia was terrible at that time too. Like we had like all these. I don't want to call them older guys, but it was a really older roster of guys. Like we had like a very past his prime, like Forsberg. We had like a Darian Hatcher. Jeff Sanderson was there. Like these are guys I was playing like video games, like as a teenager, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it too. And like we didn't have a very young team at that time. I think it was like me, Jeff Carter, Mike Richards, couple other younger kids, but that was kind of it. The rest of it was all kind of like well-seasoned vets. Ironically, I ended up playing my first game against Atlanta Thrashers, and Shane Knighty, who was also from Neepewa, Manitoba, was on the team. So that was like kind of the craziest thing. Like Shane and I were quite age gap, so like we weren't really super close, but kind of just like one of those kind of unique tidbits that I was playing my first NHL game against the only other guy out of Neepewa, Manitoba, doing it. So yeah, obviously I was super nervous. I think I don't my uncle and my parents flew in for that game, and it was definitely an experience. It was a good time for sure.
Yeah, that's a fucking some legendary names on that team that you're playing with, like Simon Gagne, the old Forsberg, Knubel, Yanni
Mm-hmm.
Pikkinen, all these guys that you said you play, RJ Umberger playing video games. It's freaking
Yeah.
awesome. So, but it looks like you came back after that and you got a confidence boost because your points doubled again. You got 21 points. You're up to 10 goals as a tough guy now,
Yeah.
still with the high PIMS. And then it came to an end with the Flyers organization, and you head to Milwaukee, which ends up being an awesome place in your career. But you really kind of found your footing there, dude. That no 9, no 10 season, 74 games, 25 points, 236 PIMs, and you get called up to the show again. That was a fucking year.
Yeah, we had a great team, and Lane Lambert was my coach in Milwaukee, and my first year in Milwaukee. I ended up breaking my jaw, so I missed a bit of time with that, but came back. Had a good off season and came back. Just kind of feeling confident in a new organization and everything, and just we played like a pretty significant role. I was getting probably like 10, 11 minutes a night as a second, third liner. Probably like a more of like a shutdown role, I killed a lot of penalties early in my career too. I was just really never afraid of blocking shots. That's how I broke my jaw. I had assistant coach. He's like, "You're gonna get caught one of these days. You're sitting back
Yes,
too
tell us
far."
this story, dude. I read about this. This is crazy.
We're actually in Winnipeg. 2 hours outside my hometown, and killing a penalty, we lose the draw cleanly. I go out, and Maxine Fortunas. Did you play with him?
Oh, beauty.
Absolute laser beam, one timer, like comes up really quickly and catches me like right in the jaw. Actually, like hit my mouth, and then it lands on my stick, and I kind of like stick handle. Then I shoot it down the ice, and I'm kind of like moving. Like I see that I'm cut. Going to the bench and moving my tongue around, like I feel like there's a gap. Like I finally lost a tooth. I'm like, all right, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. So then I get to the bench, and the trainer is just like, all right, let's see. And I open. He's like, and the look in his eyes was just like, oh man, like this is not good. Then I could feel like my bottom jaw was like inverted inside. I could feel like nothing's feeling right and everything. And you know how the rink was in Winnipeg. You couldn't just go off behind the bench. You had to go across the ice into the dress rooms in Winnipeg. So then we either sit there for a couple minutes, then skate off and end up getting surgery later that night. Like this happened in front of all my family and friends. Like, and get surgery like later that night, and then I woke up the next morning with my jaw wired, and it was wired shut for like the next, I don't know, it must have been at least 10 weeks. So Paul Fenton was the assistant GM at the time, and I can't even talk, mumbling. My teeth are wired shut. So he's like, "Hey, Triston, it's Paul," and Lane told me what happened, and he kind of like Lane kind of giggled about it, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, like about what?" He's like, "Well, he's never seen this before. It's just like he never went down. He just took it off the chin. He just took it off the chin and landed, and he finished. He shot it down the ice. He came to the bench, and he's just like, Are you serious?" Paul's like, "Are you serious?" He's like, so Paul's like, "So at least you have that going for you right now." So like,
Fuck, dude.
I'm
That
like, I
is.
don't know what that says about me, but like, maybe I didn't know any better. But
I
um,
mean, you said you had a chin and you knew it,
yeah.
so I mean, that
So
just.
yeah, I that was a strange injury for sure. Like once the swelling went down, like I could like bag skate, and I bag skated for like, man, far too long. And like you can when you can still like do all the exercising, but you can't consume enough calories. Like I almost looked like Michael Phelps by the time I was like I got the jaw unwired and everything. But I was in unbelievable shape, and I just got back in time for playoffs that year, and I was like, oh yeah, like the game's much easier like at this weight. So so yeah,
What did you get down to?
oh, I was like 210. I was like
Come
two
on, and you
two
played it.
two.
You played it upwards of like 240 at times, right?
Like mostly I was like around like 225. It was so weird because I had years that my second year in my second tour of duty in Milwaukee, um, you know, in 2015, I was like 12% at like 235. And then like that year I broke my jaw, I was like 210 at like 12% body fat. So like it's kind of different. Same kind of, not like incredibly lean by any means, but I was pretty solid at different weights for sure. So
Damn, dude. So this is I find this stuff so fascinating because I was looking across you and you did look fucking big. My gosh. But what is it like for you? I mean, I kind of think I know, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts of like you said you got nervous for your first NHL game, but if you were so used to fighting, you had all those reps and reps and reps. What was like a typical game day for you when you're gonna fight a Bonvi or somebody? Was it any different for you than another game, or did it get in your head, or what was that like for you?
um yeah, like I don't remember. There might have been like I forget who was even in Atlanta. Like it wasn't really. I think it was not. I didn't think I didn't fight until like my second game against Buffalo when I fought Andrew Peters. It might have been like my second or third pro game. My first game, I don't know what happened. Like I wouldn't say like I wasn't trying not to. Like my game has always been like trying to, like I didn't, like I've done this multiple times, but I hated it. I hated like going to face off and like shedding the mitts right off the face off. Like I wasn't really a fan of that. Obviously sometimes that happened, but like I was always trying to like run someone through the boards and then get them to come fight me, or vice versa. I go stick up for a teammate or something like that. So that's how a lot of my fights always develop, because I was always a physical player like that, and I knew how to hit as well and finish my checks. So I was always kind of drawing the attention to me. So and that's what happened with the Andrew Peters fight. Like I ran over Brian Campbell, and he came right over to me, and I was like, all right, like here you go. It's just kind of that was easier for me to kind of get engaged into a fight compared to like lining up against someone and like fighting. It wasn't really, I really had a time struggling to get jacked up, but like I always felt better that my better fights that I had and the more confidence I had was always like after a significant play. I draw attention from their team, like, all
Mm,
right, I got to go fight this guy, or like, oh, I got to go stick up for this guy. So
mm.
um that was just kind of my mindset with it. I just kind of felt like what my experience was. So um yeah, like if guys weren't coming to ask me to fight, like I wasn't hitting guys hard enough. So
Gotcha. I like that. Yeah, that's the organic way. We don't grow up looking at guys that are just squaring
yeah.
off the face off. You want to be physical and play hard and be drawn into the game, and then you don't even think about it. It just comes out. And like you said, you had a bit of a temper. So do you ever remember a time when someone just like we try to be calm in fights as much as possible, but was there ever a time where someone just really made the wires cross? And you said you were trying to hurt people every fight. Was there someone you were trying to kill?
Oh yeah, well, there's definitely guys that like I didn't even want to fight him. I was like, I'm just gonna stick this guy in the guts or something like that, like or like I would just, like I had a pretty dirty stick as well, but like I, yeah, it really if the guys I really really hated, I was like really just being it was just straight prison rules. Like I'm getting this guy on the ground and I'm gonna like stick my thumb as far as I can in his eyeball socket, or I'm gonna try to like rip his ear off or something like that. Like those are the guys I really. That's what I did to the guys I really really disliked. There wasn't a whole lot of guys like that, but um,
Who
you
comes to mind? Who comes to mind?
man, I used to fight this guy Alex Henry. Man, he was this huge defenseman. He played in Hamilton, and he hated me, and I hated him. And he was this huge motherfucking dude, like huge dude. You'll have to like watch his fights. And we used to go toe to toe, and this guy like just beat the tar out of me all the time. And like I would like, yeah, I would slew foot him and like just like give him the dirty. I did not like this guy. Like he was just, but he was just like a fierce competitor, and that's why I probably didn't like him. I was one of those guys that I didn't. I probably would have loved to play with him, but this guy was like a man of man. He had a good 4 inches on me, and he was just
Fuck,
like he
dude.
was not like wasn't scared of him, but like I was just like, oh man, like all right, I'm gonna have to like you know bring my best if I want to survive being around this guy. That guy I
Dude,
hated.
dude, that says a lot about you. Everybody, listen to this. He also, his best fight ever was like against Aaron Downey, just like yourself. Then he's going Jody Shelley, Scott Thornton, Karkner, Marasti, Vandenbush, John Scott, Colton Orr, Sean Thornton. Those are all his best tilts. And that was the guy that you picked to be the most angry at and go at. Dude,
Yeah,
that tells me everything I need to know. 6'6", 230. Alex Henry was a
yeah,
fucking animal.
yeah.
Holy shit, dude. Did you ever felt like fuck, I got the better of him tonight? Or was it always like you had to
We had
fucking just
we had one fight when I was in Milwaukee, and he must have caught me with like 7 straight ones, and I didn't go down. And after the fight, like he falls down, and we're on the ice. He's like, how did you not go down? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like I like, but yeah, like there was he looked after a young PK Subban when he was in
Mm,
Hamilton, and PK was obviously
mm.
you obviously know like PK had a pretty good lip on him as well and everything.
Yeah,
So um yeah, no,
dude,
that's a guy that came to my mind, but there's a lot of I didn't really there's obviously the couple of rats here and there, but some of those bigger guys were like, oh, okay, like I do not like this guy, like because this guy's gonna hurt me if I'm not careful. So
dude, that's wild though. Even though the guy you hated that much, you see the respect level where he hits you that many times. He's like, how the fuck did you not go down? You're
mhm.
like, instead of you going like, fuck you, asshole, you
Yeah,
fucking hate me, you're like, I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Didn't know any better.
That's just two warriors, man. That's the
Yeah, no,
respect. That's what you
yeah,
see doing these podcasts, right? You see, I'm sure you say you've been busy with life, getting on those alumni calls. I got my streams on Wednesdays, but you
yeah,
can just tell, like, even just being on an email chain with a bunch of guys, you just feel like a camaraderie there. The guys that fought, it's a different level of brotherhood. Like, it's fucking amazing. That's a really cool story to hear. I'm gonna clip the shit out of that one. Alex Henry, shout out Alex Henry. We got to get
yeah,
him on now. We got to
yeah,
get him on to hear his side.
yeah. I don't know where he is. I forget where he's from. I think he's out.
Elliot Lake.
Okay.
He went overseas and finished up after he was captain of the Bulldogs for a bunch of years. He went to the Dell and terrorized people over there for a little
Oh
bit before
yeah.
he retired.
Back to
But
his
dude,
back to his Viking roots. Yeah. No. Yeah.
yeah, this is amazing. So to take me into off the ice a little bit, when did the significant other come into your life? When did you start having children in the pro career? When did that all go down?
Oh man, not planned like a lot of times it does. But um, my last year in Grand Rapids, I had a lot of injuries. I only played like 6 games that year, and yeah, it was a really tough year. Like I had such a good year in Milwaukee before, and then I just got hit with the injury bug, and things definitely declined like significantly. And then it was just a grind after that. You know, met this girl from Grand Rapids, and we ended up getting pregnant, and then we just kind of hopped around, you know, on the East Coast for the next year and a half. It wasn't very exciting. It was a pretty tough grind, to be honest with you. It was a lot of uncertainty. I was emotionally and just psychologically drained. You know, my body just hurt. I was in terrible shape. I wasn't able to get in good shape. And then at the same time, like I had a wife and I had a newborn and everything, and then at the first time in my life, I'm making the least amount of money in my professional career as well. So it was like, man, it was definitely a lot. It was a lot. Definitely, it was all a blessing now for sure. But those last couple years of my pro career, you know, I ended up spending a lot of time just being suspended. I was just like, I just had no patience for it, and this like I felt like at that time the game had just passed me, and I was really disgruntled with it because I worked so hard to kind of reinvent my game into my
Mm.
last couple years. You know, like I was kind of limiting the fighting, and I was trying to get more points because I was like, all right, like I can't do this for much longer, you know. So I had to kind of reinvent myself, and that, as you can see, like in my stats, that last full year in the American League, I get 25, 26 points, and I think I only had maybe 10, 12 fights. So I went from having like career high in points, then the career lows in fights. So I felt like I kind of like did a 180 in my game a little bit, and kind of like, all right, like let's extend this career a little bit longer, but let's do it a little bit smarter, a little more, efficient and stuff. And then, like I said, I just had some injuries, and it just all kind of came tumbling down pretty quickly. And it took me, honestly, it took me years to kind of recover from it for sure. Because I didn't think like, I think we all like have this vision of that we're going to retire like on top, or not like we're all going to be inducted into the hall or anything, but we all kind of feel like we're going to be able to at least like go out on our own terms. But for me, my mind just kind of gave me no choice, and I was just like, all right, like we got a family now, like this isn't working anymore. Like I can't spend any more bus rides that are going to last like 15, 16 hours, and like let's start the new chapter. And it's been an absolute grind. There's been a lot of ups and downs, some wins, some losses, definitely a couple side quests here and there for sure. But today I feel pretty grateful, and I feel like I'm finally kind of into the right direction where I need to be. And that's just kind of how it is, one step at a time, one shift at a time. Still, like kind of is what I'm trying to do now. So
Dude, that's incredible, man. That's what I want to get into with you because you seem like the message you sent me about coming on, you seem very open and vulnerable, man. Because look at you did reinvent yourself, man. You won a fucking cup with Hogs and all those boys in Grand Rapids. First cup there. You all came in as vets. You had this amazing time. And then you go and reinvent yourself. You had 7 fights that year, brother. A
yeah,
year that I was terrified of you. No wonder I didn't have to do much because you were like focusing on playing.
yeah.
I backed off and you had 7 fights, 26 points. Like you did, man. You got efficient. So let's go through this sequentially. You go back to Grand Rapids after this big year. You're ready to go fucking get another cup there. And what was the first injury? What was that like? How did it snowball from there?
I broke my neck. I broke my neck.
Fuck.
Yeah, in the off season, fucking around. Um, and that, and I wasn't really feeling that bad from that. Like that just took some time. I got surgery. I actually didn't. When it happened, I didn't. like see a doctor for a couple weeks after, but like something didn't seem right.
Shocker. Triston
Yeah.
Grant. Shocker. Gets hit in the
So
fucking chin with a
yeah.
slap shot. Doesn't go down.
Um, but I healed from that, and then I think what had happened, I came back too early, and then I had this like severe hernia tear, and I had to get surgery for that
Oh.
again.
Oh.
And it, yeah, like one of my first games back after the hernia was against you, and I remember I hit you open ice, and I hit you really low, and you came right after me, and I was just like, dude, I don't have that in me right now. Like I'm just trying to like get my bearings
Dude,
straight
I
here.
don't even remember that. I
No,
was scared of you. I must have been like acting tough and been like, don't fucking drop them. Don't fucking drop them.
but yeah, that was a really disappointing year. After like I had like a career high, then I went to like the stock dropped, like it just crashed, and yeah, it really disgruntled me a lot for sure because I put so much time and effort, like getting in amazing shape that off season going into Milwaukee.
Mm.
Um, just like refocusing on and just kind of like coming to peace of like, all right, like my window's probably closed. Like, all right, you know, let's go play maybe a couple more years in the minors, and then like maybe we'll play like a year or two in Europe, and then just injuries came, and this life had got pregnant, like it's just like total different like pull off the highway there. So, but
But it's
yeah,
it's it's those expectations, right? It's those expectations where you got it. You did play well, and you're like, "Fuck yeah,
yeah.
I've reinvented," and then the rug gets pulled out. So, what was the biggest like you said that disgruntled word a couple times? Felt like a big injustice from the game that you love so much, didn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. And like, I think the biggest thing that really fucking made me mad is that, after that year, I only played 6 games. I'm like trying to call teams and give me a chance. I'm just like, dude, like these are teams like I bled for you guys for years, and they don't even. I was like, I probably maybe took that because we all understand it's a business and everything, but I was just like, come on, like give a dog a bone here. And it was just like, I don't know, it was like it kind of came true. It was just like everyone loves their soldiers until they come home and stop fighting. And that's what it kind of felt like. And I was like really kind of like upset about that for a lot of years. I think maybe a lot of guys probably wouldn't agree with that mentality, but like I felt a little bit betrayed with it as well. But like at the end of the day, it's a business, and if your horse can't run, you can't race it. And I couldn't race, so
Well, fuck, dude. You had a bad year of injuries. You would have gone to put the work in and come back. Give the guy a
yeah.
fucking 100 grand deal to fucking come grind in the minors again. Like fuck, I'm with you there, brother.
But it is what it is, and you can't really hate anybody. It was my wrongdoing, and I was fully responsible of it and everything. So, at the end of the day, I had other responsibilities to take care of, and I just needed to move on. It did take me a long time to move on. It took me a lot of time with just making the wrong decisions, doing the wrong things, and then trying to get back on a routine and just living a life, kind of like a normal life for the first time. In my 30, I think I was like 35, 36 when I retired, and like kind of stepping out of this bubble that we live in as hockey players and professional athletes and everything. And man, it was luckily I had the roots of like just being able to just grind it out and everything, and work hard. And that's what I did. Like when I when I first retired, like I didn't have the proper visa, so I had to go and cut grass and do the landscaping for a few months until I got the proper paperwork. Then I got into home renovation stuff, and then I got my insurance license. Learning how to study again after not being in high school for like 20 some years. Um, Absolutely insane. Like I'm studying for my Michigan builder's license right now. And I'm trying to like learn how to study again. These are like things that like we don't do when we're living that life. Like I feel so stupid now. Like I mean, amount of times I could have studied like on the bus instead of
Mhm.
watching stupid movies. And but obviously it's like you can't go back and like think that way. But um, yeah, being a parent, parenting, being a husband, being divorced. Now it's like co-parenting and like man, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. There's been a lot of definitely a lot of life lessons, a lot of wrong turns for sure, a lot of right turns as well. So it's crazy. I'm probably just going through this phase where a lot of my parents went through like 20 years ago. Like so it's a different kind of timelines. Um, but I'm motivated to live my best life after hockey. I'm motivated to provide the best life I can for my two daughters, and just trying to do it with a happy smile on my face at the same time.
That's beautiful, man. That is beautiful. You're just the brotherhood, the warriorship on the ice comes into our life, and we use the things that we learned in a different arena now. So you're doing it, man. So when those first couple years hit, like I can imagine you're fucking landscaping, you're doing all this shit. Like, what was your way to cope with this at the time? When it got to the shittiest parts, like what was your way of coping? What was your way of getting through to stay in the
Oh,
fight?
yeah, I drink a lot for sure, 100%. Drink a lot. I drank a lot during my hockey career too, because a lot of the anxiety from playing the game too was always there as well. And we all know like sadly that's just kind of part of hockey culture. It's going out having beers with the guys, and that's like that part of it is beautiful and everything, not only in hockey but professional sports. Um, nothing's better than like having a great fight in front of like 11,000 people in Milwaukee or Grand Rapids, and then going out being a hero at the bar. Like it's like a crazy high. Like you probably know this as well. Like you go through these. I felt like a lot of times I was chasing those highs as well in different ways. Not with like alcohol, but like having a great fight or scoring a goal was like there's nothing that really beats that for me. Like I love scoring goals. Like I scored a couple. I never was able to score in the NHL, but like I scored some big goals in the Calder Cup Finals. Like those are just amazing feelings, amazing highs. So probably like after I retired, like I couldn't get those highs anymore. I couldn't go out and like I couldn't go out beat the shit out of someone or run someone through the boards and like sit in the box for 5 minutes. And like I actually had to like go to work. So like managing and trying to find a new part of like either a hobby or something that excited me, at times it really felt impossible. So, and I still struggle with it now, like but I think that was probably one of the hardest things I went through after I retired. Was like I felt like there was so much pressure, but at the same time I knew that I had to reinvent myself and find
Mm.
new ways. But I just like was just so traffic jammed with a lot of things that I couldn't just figure out, and it caused a lot of problems for not only myself but like my wife at the time, and my friends and family. It was really challenging for sure.
Brother, thank you so much for the vulnerability, man. It's like it's obviously the Fight Plan podcast about the fights on the ice, but it's about the fights in life, man. And this is what it's all about. We just had Claude Lemieux take his life at
Yeah.
60 years old today. Like we have to fucking talk about this shit, man. Like we have to. And dude, I resonate with that so much. I literally thought, Granner, like I know what it was like to sip on the fucking nectar tit of the NHL and AHL of how good it tasted. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the high, the fucking
Yeah.
rush, the look at me. And I felt like if I never got back there, I was never going to be happy again.
Yeah.
Like it fucking killed me, dude. Like I got real close to bad shit too, man. And that's funny you say that. I think a lot of guys don't want to admit it. That's just that fucking high. It's like a drug that is
Oh
it's
no. Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no
It's
alcohol is
yeah.
going to get you there. None of that's going to get you there. It was this sport that we loved and then the
Yeah.
high of that.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, like no, it was hard. Like it was I was like I was probably like severely depressed. Like it took a lot to get out of it. Like I was in a really dark spot. Um it was not fun. It was not fun, but I'm one of the lucky ones. I got out of it, and I some days I don't know how I did, but I did, and I'm super grateful that I did. Um and Yeah, you know what? I actually met Claude years ago during the first lockout year of like 2004. I was playing uh junior hockey in Vancouver, and they had this celebrity hockey game. There's a lot of Claude was like, I'm pretty sure Claude was one of the players. A bunch of guys were there. Darcy Tucker was there. I was on this line with Darcy Tucker and Stu Barnes and this celebrity game. And there was a lot of the Canucks guys too. We had Bertuzzi and Naslin and Brad May, and it was a great time. It was awesome. But I remember getting a picture with Claude, and like Claude was a. I know Claude from like the Detroit and Colorado eras, and I was just like, man, this guy's a punk. But then when I met Claude, like this guy's a beast. Like he's just like a solid man. Like
Yeah.
a big dude and just like an ultimate competitor, man. It was when I saw that today and on my Instagram feed, I was just like, man, like that's young. You know, it's really young and it's really sad. It's hard to like have times like that when people have all the fame and fortune in themselves and they still struggle with stuff like that. That always kind of makes me remind me that it's not all about like money and fame. It's there's more to it because the Claude was like a guy that had a lot of that, and there's something still lacking in his life, which is just yeah, it's really it's incredibly unfortunate for sure.
Well, you call yourself one of the lucky ones, man, but with what I've experienced, it takes work, and we've obviously seen through this conversation, you put in the fucking work. So, what do you think when it got that dark for you? What do you think did get you through? What do you think was that light at the end of the tunnel for you, or was there not, and you just kept plugging? Like, what was your process through that shit?
Oh, I went through like stints of sobriety. I did therapy. Like I still have like I have this amazing. I've gone through like so many talk therapists, and I was just like, oh man, like this isn't working. I'm finally like connected with this life coach. He's actually also a general contractor, and it's the most amazing like relationship that I've had. It's incredible, and it's really changed my. When I first met with him, I was really still struggling with things with my divorce and co-parenting, and I didn't know what the fuck to do with my life. I was just exhausted from working so much because I felt like I was I was overworking myself just to escape other things. Like working became like another addiction,
Yep.
instead of like, I was replacing endless amounts of work over like alcohol. And I was just like, I've done a couple different things. Like I've done some psychedelics, and that's really made some huge differences as well, and like microdosing with that,
Fuck yeah, dude.
and being sober, and then like and just like changing my routine. Some like my routine right now is awful right now. Like not I'm just starting to get up earlier now and going for walks and just like turning off my phone, and I immediately already like feeling so much better, like and getting aligned again because life is so hectic. It's almost
Yes.
impossible to stay on the routines. Like I just never been able to do that. Things aren't
Mm,
just constant enough for me. um and definitely just in the world that we just live in such a crazy world with as a dad, a girl dad, with things are
yeah.
stupid and crazy expensive, and just like it's just crazy. So it's been a really hard challenge to continue to like always have to alter and adapt, I guess is the proper term for me, is always just like um making it through to the next day, I guess. That's probably what it is. So
That's it, man. That's it. Our bodies are, I call it our meat monkey space. It does not like change. It wants the set plan that we
yeah.
know that keeps us alive. And anything that changes, fucking fight or flight. Even for guys like us, we're supposed to be so tough. And we fought these guys. And I used to say, I told on one of my podcasts, I think I'd rather have fought 100 Luciches in a row. Which, by the way, your fight with him was fucking unbelievable. You ate some bombs, dude. I would rather have fought 100 Luciches in a row than deal with one day of psychological pain that I was going
Yeah.
through. Like, it is on a different level. And it's when we're used to that, it's easy. We could always work hard at the gym, but you got to work hard at studying now. Now you're trying to manage that, working, trying to just get yourself up for walks, and you're being a dad. Like, it's a lot, brother.
Yeah. No, 100%. No, it's good. But, I look at my two daughters, and that's what kind of keeps me going, and then, like, all my family's back in Canada, they're still grinding it out. I was just like, well, if my parents could do it at age 60, I could do it at this
Fuck
age.
yeah.
And that's what kind of keeps me going. I don't get me wrong. I have fucking bad days still, for sure. Like, there's days I'm just like, I have a hard time getting out of bed. Like, I'm tired. Like, I had to get up. I was supposed to get up at 6 o'clock this morning and go for a quick walk before my daughters woke up. We all end up sleeping in until 7:30. Like, my daughters could be at school like 7:25 or 8:25. We all get dressed. I think I jump in the shower for like 20 seconds, and like we go get a coffee and a donut, and we're racing it. I'm trying to put like these makeshift lunches together and everything. It was just hectic. Then I had to go to this house, and then I had to go finish tiling the shower. Then I had to go drive across town, Grand Rapids, and start trimming out this window and doors and stuff like that. So it was like busy days like that, for sure, 100%. But like, it all like stemmed from like me, like, oh my God, I do not want to get up today, but somehow I always kind of find a way to kind of get it done. It just kind of miraculously just happens. So
That's fucking beautiful, dude. I've heard so many guys say that they start being vulnerable. They find somebody they connect with, life coach, therapist, and then they do it for their fucking kids. So do you talk about how old are your daughters, and do you talk to them about this kind of stuff that you go through? Is it something that you try to keep from them? Like a cop comes home and tries to compartmentalize the stress they're in, or you try to be open with your kids? Like, how does that dynamic work with what you're going through?
Not a whole lot yet. I always try to check it with my oldest, usually daily, on, how are you feeling? Are you happy? And just gotta talk to her, and just like try to like listen to her. Because reality, like, I only get we have 50 custody. So like a lot of my time is like already kind of like missing. So like I have to try to do my best to stay in tune with the limited time I have with him and everything. There's definitely times I'm just like, when I have him for the longer stretches, I'm like, all right, it's time to go back to your mom's. Like, I need like a timeout. I need a timeout. But no, it is great, and I'm sure my ex-wife feels the exact same way. But yeah, like, no, my oldest just turned 9, and my other one's 4.5. So my 9-year-old's just kind of starting to. I think a year ago, she just kind of discovered that I played hockey. So she's kind of like. She's starting to ask them more questions about that, and then like she hasn't like gone on the YouTube yet and look at the videos or anything like that yet. But I could tell she's super proud and she's excited about that, and that's awesome. I could be her hero in one way. I'm more your hero, and she doesn't even know I really played hockey yet. So no,
wow,
so it's great. No, but we do go to Griffin's games, and I haven't got him into hockey. I probably won't, because I probably can't afford hockey, and I don't know if I really want to spend another lifetime in rinks. But we'll see. So.
That's beautiful, man.
It's a beautiful game, and like I said, I've met so many great people too in hockey, and it's great. It truly is great.
Dude, that's awesome though. The life coach. So you got the life coach. That's a big outlet for you. Do you keep in touch with any of the boys? Who's your kind of closest fellas you kind of still talk to? Because I know life gets busy and it's hard.
I actually just talked to my boy Scott Ford the other day. He texted me like these old pictures that he came over when we're celebrating my first daughter's first birthday, and now he's got a 1-year-old. It's just crazy. So it's just like, and he's busy now too. He's got a 1-year-old and he's married and he's into coaching now. He's trying to find a new job, and we're just kind of chit chatting back and forth for about 20 minutes. So I try to keep in touch with him. Got some other buddies um, from when we won the Calder with. Yeah, everyone's kind of busy. So it's just like everyone got lives, but I try to do my best to kind of touch base randomly. Played with this guy named Jeff Peters, actually Andrew Peters' older brother. Played with him Milwaukee one year, and actually drove to Buffalo was it last year? No, it was 2 Labor Day weekends ago. I drove to Buffalo, and we had a good time in Buffalo the one weekend there. It was a great time, but I haven't seen him in like 10 years. It was crazy, and we just kind of left off like we did last time, and it was incredible. And I think that's a beauty. That's a beautiful thing with hockey and probably like commodities you have in professional sports. Like usually you could like step away from someone for a decade, and then you could kind of just like reconnect so suddenly and so seamlessly and have just an amazing time again. And that's what you do, and that's what I usually try to do with some of these guys here and there, so definitely need to take care of more long-term relationships like that with some friends. I have an athletic trainer buddy that I had in Oklahoma City, and I visited him 3 times in Charlotte now. Just going there, hanging out. I'm just like, hey, dude, you got like a bed for me? It's just like, I need to get out of Michigan. I'm like, I'm coming to visit you. He's like, yeah, absolutely. Let's go. So, yeah, having friendships is like that or is awesome. And I would feel bad for people that don't have those kind of relationships and friendships, for sure.
Isn't it weird? Isn't
I
it
think
weird how
those are,
you're just back in the room with them? It's like you're out in society, but it's like you're back in the room 10 years ago.
yeah, no, it's 100% it is too. And I'm lucky too, because everyone is inviting in the dressing room in the Grand Rapids, so I can always pop my head in there every once in a while. Maybe I got like a morning off, they got to practice. I'll go down to Van Andel and I'll go in there and grab a cup of coffee, and a lot of the same staff is there, or coaches I know before, and it's great. You and just being in that dressing room again, where the energy is just flowing, everyone's kind of like making fun of each other again, and all the same kind of lingo. I definitely miss that part for sure, but I'm definitely lucky enough that I could, the rink's 10 minutes away from my house, and I could pull in, and I can go get tickets anytime I want to, and go be a part of the team, for evening or morning practice or something like that, and kind of ham it up and didn't have a good time. And for me that means a lot, for sure. 100%. So
dude. Fuck yeah. That awesome trainer there. What's his name? The guy with the big beard, legend.
Oh, dog. Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah.
Fuck, he's awesome. He messaged me not too long ago. He stays in touch with lots of different guys, even guys that I never even played with him like as my trainer, but he's so close to our trainers and stuff. But like, dude, looking back at your journey through, from like over 100 fights before you even turned pro, like, what do you think this career in the game and the role you played specifically kind of got you prepared for the rest of life? What do you think you brought from hockey into now that's still helping you?
I'm definitely the toughest dad at school drop off. That's for sure.
The guy with the thumbs poking out and the fingers.
Oh, I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, it's funny when I meet people for the first time and I shake their hand. It's like, dude, where are you from? And I was like, and when I do shave, like I got all these like gnarly scars too. I got like split open over both my eyebrows, and nose isn't reset yet and everything. No, I think like just knowing, because now again I'm being forced to do hard things. Like, it's fucking hard for me to study. it's for this stupid exam that I need to get. Like, I need to do this to get to the next level in life and everything. And I'm like, oh man, like I hate this. This sucks. But like, okay, I've done hard things before. Like I've challenged myself. I've ran the extra mile when I didn't want to, or like I did the extra sprint, or did the extra rep, or fought the guy I didn't want to fight. So I know like I've done hard things before. So knowing that I've done that and proven that I do that, it's like, okay, passing a test is much easier than fighting a meathead. Like
Alex Henry.
yeah, Alex Henry or Milan Lucic or something like that, or or taking a slap shot to the face. Those things are like other things are much easier than stuff like that. So it's I think those are some of the lessons that first come to my mind when I think about stuff like that.
For sure. And you mentioned the ADHD too, so that probably can't help studying.
Oh, it's brutal. I'm just like, I have to lock in. It's hard to lock in these days for sure. Because you got so much other shit going on. Like I'm like, oh man, like what am I gonna feed my kids tomorrow? I'm like, oh, what do I got? Oh, I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow too. Oh, okay. And then like, oh yeah, I forgot there's a load in the washer right now too. I gotta switch it over. Like, like, oh, I gotta order supplies for this bathroom renovation, stuff like that. So it's like it's a lot for sure. 100%. So
And do you think, we've both seen guys get punched in the head once and be like, nope, I got a conk, I'm done. And then you have guys like Tydomi fought 333 times NHL, and he's like, yeah, my brain's crystal clear. Were you one of those knuckle draggers where your skull's just thicker than other people, or do you have some damage going on out there that you can tell? Like, I know I've been through my own journey with that. The mushrooms have really helped my brain, I think, but how's the noggin these days?
I feel pretty good actually. Like I kind of got tested when I first retired. I saw splashes about it. Just to do it, I guess. He said I was all good. I feel pretty sharp. I honestly do. Like I'm still pretty witty. I crunch numbers. Like all day with off a tape measure and doing math and I build with my hands, so like a lot of calculations are done. I feel pretty sharp with that kind of stuff. I feel pretty alert. Like I'm definitely feel like I'm still like on an elite level. I still feel, even though I'm in terrible shape right now, like I feel still very athletic. I went for a run the other day. I kind of randomly ran 4 miles, and I'm just like, oh, okay, like this isn't bad. Like I could do this again. Meanwhile, like my back has just been wrenched ever since.
I was just gonna say, how'd you wake up the next day going to do some fucking?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I still play beer league.
Nice.
During the years too. So definitely like the body's starting to like catch up a little bit for sure, especially with like labor I do, like it's a lot of like drywalling and building decks and cutting stuff. It's hard on the body for sure. Tiling, you're always on your hands and knees and stuff like that. So that's why I'm trying to get like licensed and everything, and just try to maybe, it's just something I won't be able to do for the rest of my life. And I really don't want to. So like I'm still pretty grateful that I am still like able to do like the hard labor and do the paperwork and figure the things out. I'm still like, I still have to put a lot of like mindset into it, a lot of thought, and I feel pretty lucky that I can still do that at my age, after I've been through just the absolute meat grinder for like, for 20 years.
Dude, literally, I retired from injuries at 29 with just injuries just to this right wrist repeatedly.
Right.
It sounds like you had fucking shit everywhere, and now you're doing that laborer's job. So, man, hats off to you, man.
Yeah.
And being a fucking warrior still off the ice.
Yeah.
So,
it's crazy. It's crazy what they think. Yeah, sorry. It's crazy like how, from when like custom molded mouth guards weren't really a thing when I started playing junior hockey. and now they know, like, every time you kind of like seeing stars is a concussion right now. Like, compared to like what we know now, it's actually pretty incredible. Like, I woke up to like I got knocked out once as a 6-year-old. Like, we got in this bench clearing brawl in Lethbridge, I think against the Calgary Hitmen. And I was fighting this guy, and then he did the old like leg sweep, and I
Oh
hammered my
no.
head. I hammered my head on the ice, and I was out cold. And I woke up. That was the only time I was ever knocked out. I woke up to like a smelling salt. That happened. That brawl happened at the end of the second period. I went out and played like in the third period.
Oh my God.
So that stuff is pretty crazy. Like, and there's definitely so many times that you get your bell rung and everything, and you get hit hard here and there for sure. I definitely have had that. But I do feel pretty good about myself. Like, we'll know someday. Someday we'll have to donate it and see what happens, see what the real story is. But like today,
Mm.
like, like I feel like I'm functioning pretty well, and pretty well compared for considering like what I did for so many years for sure.
No kidding, dude. I'm so happy to hear that for your partner, your daughters. Like that's amazing to hear,
Yeah.
dude. It sounds like the next real fight is this fucking test, though. Eh? This is what's on the docket,
Oh
right?
yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I've taken it once before. I didn't pass it, so luckily it kind of tells you what you need to work on. I'm just like, oh man, motherfucker. Like, so yeah, that's my biggest battle right now is doing that. So it's gonna get done. It doesn't matter how many times I gotta take it. Like, it's just gonna have to get done, and it is where it is. So um super excited about it. I'll have to send you my website when we're done with this too. Just getting a website for a business done too. It's just kind of a handyman services. So there's a really lack of handyman in the world in general. A lot of these big builders don't want to do the small things, and just with like the aging population, there's just like there's not a lot of people that do it, and like and then obviously with another generation of men and people in general, nobody really knows how to do this stuff anymore. They don't really know how to like change some handles on the cabinet or change a door or something like that, or kind of like recock a tub or something like that. So there's a lot of so there's a lot of there's a very incredibly large like untapped market of the stuff that you can do. So and it's not really hard work. It takes a lot of skill. Like, I've mostly taught myself. I've worked with some people here and there, and I've really been a great sponge doing it. And I watch a lot of videos on how to do stuff. Like, it just amazes me. Um so that's just kind of what I'm going to do moving forward for now. That's
Dude,
just how I'm going to make my living. I've worked for other companies, but it's hard to kind of co-parent with 50-50 custody when you're demanding to be at work at like 6 a.m. but you got to drop your kids off at like 8:30. So being self-employed was just something that just had to be figured out, and that's just what I'm trying to do. And
dude.
at the same time, being your own boss,
Yes.
and just kind of finally, like, after obviously with hockey for years, like, you kind of like stand in line. You're still responsible for living your day-to-day life, but like, you're being told where to be at practice, be at the rink by 9 o'clock, game times at 7. You're still kind of codded in the way you go. So then now doing that as a self-employed human being is definitely been challenging, but it's awesome. Like, if things become aligned and I get a job done earlier than expected, like, I get more time to myself that I could work on a project for myself, or I could take a day off and spend it with my daughters or something like that, or friends. It's just amazing. So that's what I really kind of strive to do now and everything. Instead of just like punch into the clock like 9 to 5, like nonstop. I'm just like, all right, like there's obviously risk and reward with it, but that's just kind of what I'm trying to shoot for right now. So I'm
Dude, I
pretty
think you're
excited
onto
about it.
something. I think you're
So
onto something, brother. Because when I was living in the southern United States for a bit, we had a guy, and he was talking about it the same way as you, and he was so fucking dialed in. He was so respectful. He was such a cool guy, so on time, such a good job, like over delivered, undercharged. He just made a killing because, like you said, all these people don't know how to do things. They want someone reliable they can call in a pinch, and it makes their own schedule, and they show up, and he's a pleasure to deal with. I think you're onto something there, brother.
Yeah.
And as we know with hockey, you had to be on every day. When you bring this into normal life, you just excel at everything else because you just know how to do shit to a high level.
Yeah, I think the biggest skill set I brought in is just like how to be professional and like how to talk to people.
Yeah.
I've worked with some people. I worked on other like crews, construction crews, and I'm like, you never played team sports, did you? I can tell because you're not a team player, you know. So like, there's gonna be a time that I'm gonna have to like recruit and probably build my own crew, and I would just love to recruit a bunch of hockey players. So we'll see how it goes. But
literally, dude.
Yeah, no, those you know, it's so tough. Like when I was putting like my resume for jobs together, like I had no work experience other than like hockey. And then like a lot of people, unfortunate thing, like a lot of people's like, he's like, well, you know, like I've been leaders on majority of these teams, and like I've been on winning teams, won championships, and like what people don't really see between the lines is like, yeah, but I have like 20 years of fucking teamwork skills, like, and I know how to work with a group and obtain and pull the rope in the same direction. That's the biggest problem with going into the workforce, whether it's on a building site, a construction site, or in a fucking office. It's all doesn't work if you're not educated and taught how to be a good teammate. So
it's people skills, right? And us to another level. Obviously, you have Sid the Kid and all these guys that were the spokesperson of the team, media, whatever. But when you're constantly in conflict against opponents where you are hating each other, some guys you fight them. You're in all these strange circumstances where adrenaline's pumping, and you get in like a crew, and some guy's not doing his job or pulling the rope, doing his carpentry right, and you're like, hey, like pull him aside and tell him, and people are like shocked by that because it's so confrontational, but it's so normal for us, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've been in leadership roles in construction too, and I've had to like talk to these guys and like try to like fire them up to get motivated to fucking work, and like they can't do it. And I'm just like, man, and for me it was like incredibly challenging to like where's your motive to like work and like do better? Like, don't you want to like make more money or get this job done quicker or have pride in your work and stuff like that? And sometimes it just doesn't click. It's just that's just kind of like that's what I've really learned with, you know, every job that I've had after hockey. I'm just like, there's always like, and I've been the guy too. I've been like, oh man, I fucking hate this job. Like this job sucks, man. Like I don't want to be here right now. Like I get it. There's always a guy like that, but like working with other same-minded people definitely helps you, you know, limit those bad days at work, because we're all trying to get to the end of when the bell goes off too and everything. We're all trying to get to the weekend, and we're all trying to like just do our best and obviously make enough money and funds that we can go and spend it with the people that we love and doing the things that we love as well. So spending those tough work hours with people that you gel with is definitely makes things a lot better. And just you learn that through hockey. You know, bad guys in hockey don't last very long. You know, they get weeded out pretty quickly. So those are some of the skill sets I definitely would like to bring into my business and what I've had in the past working for other companies and such. And, you know, I have a really good, healthy vision, I think, of how that's going to look like in the future someday.
Well, fuck, we know how to manifest something that seems impossible to most. So I have no doubt in my mind you're going to do that, brother. Yeah. I'd love to work on a carpentry team with you. I'd love to be your son. I'd love to be a part of your life, dude. You're a salt of the earth, dude. I would have loved to play with you. Thank you for not fighting me that night. But dude,
Yeah.
incredible vulnerability from you, man. I could tell from that message, like your girl's like your oldest is getting into hockey now. She's gonna see dad watch this someday now, and she's gonna, Dad, you said you wanted me to go back to mom sometimes. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna have to mine this email list from Gillies and the boys too. I know Gillies just he lost somebody in his life important to him, so I'm gonna have him on another time. But yeah, any buddies you got, you know, I'm gonna try to find Alex Henry's number, but you know, Ford, anybody else you got that you think would be great, let them know and pass along.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Anytime. No, there's so many good guys in that group with the email group and everything. I actually feel bad I haven't been in touch with those guys, because Gillies and those guys, those are amazing guys. Like I've like played against those guys and then gone out for beers with those guys after. Then like we gone to like PHP meetings with those guys. Like all those guys are unbelievable guys, and that's a special group of human beings for sure. And I'm really proud to be a part of that group as well. So those are a group that I really need to reconnect with in the near future for sure. So.
Amen. I know, if I do my streams at night, if I didn't, I'd be fucking in there for sure. But hey, we'll do our best. We circle up. I'm so happy you have that life coach in life, man. Their life coach really helped me on my path. So yeah, dude, Tanner, this was incredible, man. I really appreciate you coming on the Fight Plan podcast. People are going to love this.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thanks for having me, and let me talk about everything. It's been great. It's been challenging, but I hopefully this helps someone out along. You know, there's definitely times that things are going so well, then they're not going so well, and then you just kind of keep grinding and just like you said, manifest and have faith.
That's it, baby. That's it. We didn't even get into the faith stuff, but somebody's gonna be watching back home in your hometown. I'm sure. You know, they look up to you and Shane Knighty, and they're gonna hear you going through it. Like, people want to hear people going through it. They find themselves in their stories, and it's inspiring. So 100% this has helped somebody, because it's already helped me, brother. So thank you so much, and appreciate everybody listening to Granner chat here. This was a great time.
Thank you.
Hey, Ben here from After the Bell and the Fight Plan podcast. I'm really excited to announce that I've been working with Gabriel on something we call the Next Arena. Now, this is built for somebody who's going through transitions in life, whether that be leaving the game, changing careers, or just looking to move forward with a little bit more purpose and a little bit more structure. We'll be announcing more on this soon, but until then, back to the podcast.
Motherfucking stay, fight fans, and welcome back to After the Bell. Ding fucking ding. Ben Myers, somebody like you, back in the building, brother. Fresh off his episode. Let's get into it, kid. How you feeling?
Dude, I'm feeling great. It's a lot to feel like live up to the, I say, expectations of showing up in the world of all these amazing athletes, amazing human beings with amazing stories. And so I'm just so appreciative of anybody who's listening and anybody who has connected with the Fight Plan or After the Bell, because brother, the space you're holding here, man, it helped not just me, but I feel like so many people feel heard through anxiety, panic attacks, and just life's journey in general. So I just want to say gratitude to you, my friend, and everybody who watched and who has been on the podcast. Much gratitude.
Oh, I appreciate you, brother. But you know, from the beginning, I said I couldn't do this shit without you. And here you are making impacts all across what we got going on, dude. We're getting the beta testers in. I got a lot of stuff to talk to you about. I'm not caring that this comes out 3 weeks after your pod. It just happened. I had to check in with you there. We just go with the flow here on the pod. But brother, Triston Grant, out of Neepewa. I had to get that right. He kept correcting me. Neepewa, Manitoba. This guy just went with the flow early on in life too.
I love your drill me, brother. Let me know. Could you not feel the passion about just the sport of hockey almost just oozing out of him? The first thing I saw, I was like, I know all hockey players that make it to that level, there's this level of obsession, right? But you could just feel he was romantic talking about just the sport of hockey. I loved how what we talk about, following your highest passion, your highest emotion, your highest excitement. I felt like he truly did that from such a young age of I get an outlet of, maybe punching some people in the face, running some people through the boards, and also watching and becoming this hockey player that I've just seen on TV all these years.
Yeah, dude. And that's funny. Never did I think I'd be sitting talking on After the Bell of a podcast talking about Triston Grant being romantic in any way type, because this guy on the ice was just, I mean, he even, usually I have the good memory on me. He remembered actually, I think, hitting me or something, and I wanted to go with him and he didn't want to. So I think that was, again, me acting out of just fear, right? Of just like, I'm going to attack. That was my defense mechanism, was to fight, right? So, but him to romanticizing, he seemed like such a cool, calm, collected guy. Every time I played him, I'm like, is this guy, like, he looks super tough, but is he? He's super chill out here. That was later in his career, but yeah, talking about growing up in a place like that where it's just hard work, blue collar, the doors are unlocked, and he got to tee off on some bullies in a way that maybe you wouldn't get to in an inner city or somewhere that's a little more affluent. Not inner city, but affluent. Like somewhere where they're going to be pissed off if you're beating up your buddies down the street. But he kind of deserved it, and Granter preyed on that in a beautiful way. It kind of was romantic.
Well, we talk about it, right? Like following and pursuing your highest excitement looks a lot different to a lot of people, right? If he liked punching people in the face, sticking up for the voice of the voice, or being the voice of the voiceless and stuff like that, at least he found an outlet that was just kind of a place where like there's a rink to do it in, kind of thing. And you could just hear that he brought that mentality. He was a big dude growing up, like 6'1", 200 pounds at like 14, 210 at 4. That's insane. That's a brick wall. And being able to show up, and then like we just talk about following that highest passion, what you're good at, doing all these things, like that's what gives you that fire to show up in whatever arena you're in, because there's going to be tough days, getting hit in the jaw with a slapper and stuff like that. Like to continue showing up, like if you're not following that highest passion, there's going to be the days that you want to quit. You most likely will if you don't have that burning passion following your highest excitement.
100%. And I think so many hockey players out there resonate, so many athletes, so many people that just have a burning desire in them for something. And we both know, Ben, on our journeys, that's what took us to the place we're sitting now. And do you believe everybody has that burning desire, no matter what, buried down there?
You know what's interesting? I don't know if everyone has this distinct purpose. I think the journey and the adventure of it all is the pursuit of it, and kind of picking up on, what is lighting me up. Because I'm sure not everybody loves every aspect of hockey, right? They don't love the conditioning camp. They don't love all the certain things, right? But it's the pursuit of the bigger goal. So what does that look like? So I think that's the adventure, is pursuing and discovering what is my highest excitement today in this moment. Because maybe it's not this, grand gesture of helping people and save the planet. Maybe it's just, hey, I'm really excited to go help out that person across the street, or I'm really going to go eat some ice cream. Like discovering that highest excitement, I think is, something we're all on an adventure for.
And I think it's really informing how we look at this purpose and connection module that we're building in this training program that we got coming. I mean, you're tapping into it there. Like, we don't love every part of it, but in every moment, and this can start to get into the spiritual side of things. Bashar talks about this, and I've talked about it on the After the Bell before, of your highest excitement formula. It really unlocks the universe of chase your high excitement to the best of your ability with no insistence on the outcome, with integrity. And he says that in every moment, there is something that is your highest excitement. Like you said, it might be that ice cream shop instead of the donut shop. I don't know. It doesn't have to be the highest choice of your life. It doesn't have to be this paradigm shifting thing. It's in every moment you have this intuition. And I think I saw a study recently, and it said 80% of people have had deep spiritual experiences but are too afraid to speak about it because they don't want to sound weird. They don't like. This is why that is blocked up. This is why we're out here, decision fatigue, not knowing what to do. There's so many options in this world of what am I? It's like, get quiet and ask yourself, what is that? Because I believe it's buried down there. The 20% may be covered up, the people that haven't had that spiritual experience, but most of us have this knowing, and we know it's there, but we're afraid to tap into it.
How many of us have been tripped up based off perceptions and English or whatever language it is, and just words, right? Like, I think that was beaten out of us as kids. At some age, we get taught like this is either cringe or nerdy or whatever it is. And it's just like, what I've learned looking back is most of that was when we were just loving and so excited about these things. And we are taught that it was like a nerdy thing to do. And then we just suppressed and buried that for so long. And along that journey, we lost how to follow the pursuit of highest excitement because we were conditioned to believe that that excitement wasn't a good thing. It wasn't welcomed in the room. So I think, as we get to be adults and become voices and have in this space, is to talk about like, there's this thing called a cringe prison.
Yeah.
Break the fuck out of it. Like, if you get like so juiced up about action figures and collectibles and dinosaurs and whatever it may be, like, nerd out and love it, because that's what lights you up. Let that passion, that enthusiasm, that secret sauce come through you, because I think that's what the world is missing, is just that juice.
And we have a specific prompt written by you about the cringe prison in our program. So it's funny how we're starting to tap into these topics that we're building out. But yeah, I can remember equally loving playing with the sports and the jocks guys in elementary school as young as grade 4 and 5, and then going to hang out with Matt and Addis and the boys playing dinosaurs and holding my arms like this and playing Lord of the Rings or whatever it was, and getting chirped by the jocks for doing that and not really getting, why can't I do both? And then the world started to reward me for the sports. So where did I go? Where did I feel wanted? Where did I feel appreciated and worthy? The sports, especially with my athletic family. My dad wasn't walking around like a T-Rex, but if I had gotten rewarded early on, whatever it is, like you get some like award for drama or something. Next thing you know, I'm on stage and I want to be an actor. Like, you don't know what your path's going to be, but there was different excitements there, and one is what kind of took me on its way, and that was the path I was supposed to take. But I think we all have multiple interests. It's which way is life going to reward us for those things, and that's kind of where the ego tends to go.
So first off, shout out Matt and Addison.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Second of all, what's kind of a little wild is you talk about it. Maybe you end up on a stage doing these things. I don't know, maybe like speaking, because following your highest excitement of doing those types of things comes through you in a different way now. And that's something that opens you up in that space. And now you're impacting in ways that is serving that inner child, that's that version of yourself that was like loving to play Lord of the Rings and dinosaurs, like that pursuit. And now you have the confidence of maybe this label behind you of former professional athlete or whatever it is, where now you're like, I don't, especially as an enforcer, right? I don't give a shit what anybody says. And now you're like, I'm going to just now be in service of the things that light me up. And dude, that's what I'm so proud of you doing, is you're inspiring others as well, along with our other guests on this podcast, to not just fight on the ice, but fight off of it too.
Thank you so much, brother. I received that so warmly. And it's so beautiful how we can learn from each other's journeys, because you kind of went that other way. You had the exit from sport in a way of the basketball. You played some more football, you played some more baseball, but you always had that musical angle to you. You always had that kind of different vibe of, I know I'm going to help people. I wasn't thinking that, brother. I wasn't thinking that, you kind of tapped into this musical side. That was, my brother had that with my dad. I never had the musical side, apparently. So you kind of tapped in, went that different way early on, and talk about that journey for you, because you were that athlete that loved music too. Was that something that married well together at the time, or was it something different?
No, it didn't marry well together. It was with the music. The only thing, I didn't have this overwhelming desire to be perfect at it. I really just wanted to get to the level in which I can sit in a room and jam with people and be part of that magic, right? If you sit in a room with, whether it be a drummer, a guitar player, a bassist, key player, a keyboard player, whatever it is, like, and they're all clicking, there is a magic that happens. And you hear it in your favorite bands, your favorite artists. There's this thing that comes through, and I believe it's alchemy. It's magic. And I just thought to me, like, that's the closest thing to having superpowers you can have, is sitting in that room and being that creative and just being in that pocket and that flow. It was never to become the next Paul McCartney or the Beatles or Led Zeppelin or anything like that. It was just to be able to create with people. And they didn't marry well, because I kind of, a little bit like you, is I just fully committed and dove headfirst into sports. And I was the jock year round, doing everything all of the time. I was playing one sport, training for another. And once I left, and like, yeah, there was a lot of figuring shit out, But one of my grounding things was that was a passion of mine and still is. You can see the keyboards and the guitars all in my room. So, yeah. What has been lighting you up as of late? And what's like your highest excitement that you found post sport you've been pursuing?
I mean, it has to be that word spirituality that's probably elevated now to consciousness.
Mhm.
And the more I'm finding and studying, going toward that highest excitement, instead of it, instead of me feeling like I'm moving towards it, it now feels like it's sucking me in.
Hey.
And I think that is the biggest difference. Is before it was I'm separate, I have these different interests, I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm going to go at what excites me, and that's what the first step is. But after that, it's I can't possibly not do this. It would be back in the cringe prison. It would be back in the depression prison, in the anxiety prison, in the bipolar prison, in the suicidal ideation prison. It's sickness, it's disease. And I remember I watched a video recently where a guy said, if we're not constantly expanding, this is an expanding universe. You're not expanding as a being. You're gonna get disease. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna get depressed, and I totally feel that now. And going back to what you said of what we need to be, like just enjoying it, we have to go back to being like little children to enter the kingdom. That's what Jesus talks about. That's what all the different masters talk about, is having that wonder in life again. And I think that's when you're not expecting anything, when you don't feel like you've earned anything, when you don't feel like you're owed anything.
You heard Granners talk about it, man. There was this point he got to that he's like, I bled for you for years. And I just like give a dog a bone kind of thing. And how well that translates to life. Like, how much do we feel we're owed by things we do? And
Mm.
especially in the helping world, that's a really dangerous game to play, is feel like you're owed something for helping others. Like, so it's no longer selflessly giving, it's selfish. And I know that's something I've struggled with is, why am I giving? Is it for money? The answer is okay if that's yes. Like, you're allowed to want to get paid for helping others, but there has to be a portion of it that it's not directed to dollars and cents. It's not directed that I did this for you, now you do this for me. This isn't a bargaining chip. It's
Mm.
it's a who we are at our core kind of thing. And the way Granders worked through it, and obviously like he was very open about and very vulnerable about, like, yeah, maybe not everybody agrees with that, but like that was my truth. And I know you said it, brother. I kind of see that and I understand that. Like, you've dedicated your life to these things. Like, so now if you're in pursuit of your highest good, your highest excitement, all of those things, like, you're not worried about what you're getting back in return, because the process is the excitement. The reward is just being able to do the things. And that once you start clocking that and you start realizing, like, I'm looking for something in return, you're starting to realize you're just kind of transitioning out of what your highest excitement is. And now you're like, it's your highest expectation now.
Oh, fire, dude. Highest expectation. That's what it is, because I can resonate with that. That's what Grainer said. He like reinvents himself year 10. Okay. I'm going to be more skilled. I'm going to play the game better. He has a career year, year 10, signs with his old team. He won the Calder Cup with the next season, gets hurt 6 games in. He's done. He's thinking, oh my God, like, are you kidding me? I'm in the best place ever to have a season ending injury.
And
He got sucked into his highest expectations. When our highest excitement is coming from the wrong place, when you feel like you're chasing, you get sucked into that pleasure of it, that prestige of it, and then it's like, oh, I got this. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, and it's always when we let our guard down, we lack that awareness. Ooh, it comes for you, and it came for me getting sent down the first time. Like the first time that I disagreed with being sent down on the plane, I read about it in my book. It was just younger me would have ran around the neighborhood naked had that coach told me, you know what, you're going to make it when you're about 25. You're just not there yet. Keep working, kid. We love you. Work so hard. I would have, like, even 6 months before. But at that time, with who I was, not having the awareness, not having the perspective, it absolutely cut the legs out from under me. And I struggled so hard. And it sounded like Granner went through that when he still had to go play. And then he had to drop down to the East Coast, a career NHL, AHL guy having to drop down another level.
and that has to be such a shot to the ego in the moment, right? Because it's once again dedicated everything. Like, now give me something. Like, I wore a puck to the jaw and literally shattered that thing and still just cleared the puck and skated off my own power, never dropped kind of thing. Like, give me a little bit. I know you mentioned in the podcast episode, like, give me 100,000 for the year and I'll go play in the minors or whatever it is. Like, but once again, that look at him now and look at like the purpose. Like, he's helping out. He's shaped it so well too, talking about like, hey, in the general contracting world, like there's not a lot of people doing this. Like, there's seniors out there that need help in their houses and things. Like, he's following that. Now he's talked about like he doesn't want to do that manual label for the rest. Like, so what's he doing? Following his excitement, taking the test to become, I believe, a general contractor, a GC. And that's the type of thing that, once again, whether it be sport, life experience, in your career, anyone's career, what are my greatest strengths that I've learned through the journey that is going to show up in my next arena, wherever that is.
Plug it. But dude, 100%. So like, where in your, I mean, I think I have some ideas, but of course I know how to hold space from Ben Myers. Where do you feel like there's a time where you felt like you earned something and this kind of situation bit you?
If I'll be honest, man, it's kind of been like probably for the past like 4 years, there's been a taste of that in my mouth. Not so much of like, hey, I've done so much work, I deserve my break. I think a lot of it has come in like relationship standpoints. I think that's where I can get tripped up is I've shown up in a certain way or I've given so much. Why aren't you giving the same thing back to me? Yes. And then it turns into I'm just doing things almost as bargaining chips again. Like, oh, no, I'm better than you because I treat you this way. You don't treat me this way. And realizing that you don't love that person because you're not loving them for who they are. You're loving them for who you want them to be and the way you want them to treat you. And obviously we all have things that we deserve to be treated. But if it's not a match, that's up to us to be able to be like, it's time for me to separate from this. It's time for me to go because I want to love somebody for who they are, not who I want to turn them into kind of thing. So that's where I've gotten tripped up probably in the past couple of years.
Oh, brother, I don't think you're alone there. I mean, as we've heard people speak about in the spiritual spaces that, you know, the romantic relationships, the toughest arena, let's say, to do your work in and to grow through. And I think that's maybe one of the main reasons is that conditional love that we all think is unconditional when we're unaware. We go in, my goodness, my ex, I thought it was just unconditional purity and it was so not. I think there's always the paradox of that there truly was unconditional support there, and that's why we're still close. But on the romantic level of that, she's completing me thing, you know, and if she's not fulfilling what she said she was gonna, well, she didn't say, she just was the completion of me at the time. If she doesn't continue that, I used to be the guy's like, oh, if my wife had to have a baby and just like didn't get back in shape right away, I'd be like, out of here. Like, it was so transactional. It was so infatuation with how she looked and what it made me feel. And I think that's why relationships are just the ultimate crucible of that. It just absolutely reveals every dirty issue of conditional love and feelings of highest expectation in us. It is so true, dude.
And to even admit that and talk about that vulnerably, right? Because there's nothing wrong with having a physical attraction and stuff like that. Like, that's a big part of a relationship. It's like, I want to be physically attracted to the person I'm with, but when it becomes transactional and conditional based off like, if you no longer look this way for this time after this, then I don't want to be here anymore. After, like you said, like if that person gave you a child and now you're like, I don't love you anymore because you don't look a certain way. Like, it's the attachment to the physical. It's not the physical attraction itself. It's why am I so attached to it? Is it because I'm insecure about myself and maybe the way I present in the world, and having this wonderful piece of arm candy underneath me makes me feel like I rise up kind of stuff. But for you to talk about that, once again, I'm sure someone listens to this and goes, oh shit. I've been there, I'm there now, or thank goodness I got to look out for that in the future, because once again, it's attachments to the things. It's not always the things themselves.
It ain't the pizza you're eating, people. It's your attachment to it. It ain't the person, it's your attachment to them. It's always the lack of awareness and attachment. Always. It does not matter. Well, that can get to another day. It does matter in the sense of living the way we do what we do, but it's the intention behind it. You can kill someone out of cold blood, premeditated murder or you could kill someone defending your family. It's a lot about what consciousness and intent you're coming at things with. And man, did I get really good at dressing up that my intention was perfect. Even to the hockey, of course I'm the guy that sticks up for bullies off the ice and my teammates on the ice. I just care. Can we be completely honest, everyone? I just wanted my cookie. I wanted my contract. I wanted my attention. I wanted my status. Yeah, I'm the guy on the team, ladies, that does that. I'm the tough guy. I'm the badass, not them. They may maybe make more money. I'm the real underground dude. Like, I lived that and I had no clue.
Well, Grander's talked about that. He talked about like there's nothing more high than, going out from 11,000 people, pounding someone in the face and going to the bar, grabbing a couple beers with the boys, and then everyone's just celebrating you. Like there's that peacocking, right? Like, oh, that's who I am. And the attachment to that, like that's something I can't relate to, is understanding that high, but I can imagine that is addictive.
Oh,
I can't imagine that, man.
and then when a guy like us gets to score a goal, it's like, fuck the fights. That's a whole nother level of high. Now I can do both, honey. Like, oh God, oh man, it's wild, man. It's wild, and I wonder what this hits with people out there. What in their life are they feeling that they're just expecting something from? There's so many things I'd love to be vulnerable about, but I got to be careful. There's some things I can't be with different people in my life, but what I do know for sure is you don't got to go looking for these things. they are gonna find you.
And remembering that, like, there's a judgment process there too. Like, do your best not to judge yourself. Like, once you point it out, like, celebrate that you recognize it. Like, you can start now the process of like, well, how do I just create a healthier relationship with that attachment of expectation? Like, that sounds like a very textbook and formal way to go about it. But like, I'm telling you, the first step to do that is just recognizing it's present. And then from there, continuing to recognize when it becomes present, because the more you recognize it, you're going to go like, holy shit, that's steering my ship all day long, every day of the week. And then you just start taking the first steps of deciding what that looks like, how we want to respond to it uniquely as we do, not as me, Gabe's, or a YouTube video tells you how to do. It's finding the right way to do it for yourself.
Well, you're hitting on we touch on the science and the spirituality, but we're hitting on the science now of the reticulating activation system, what we learned at Nickerson Institute. So what are you right now with the awareness that you have this part of your brain, the same part that when we notice a blue pickup truck and you say, I like that, and all of a sudden you see them everywhere. What are you using in your life right now to hone that and point that towards right now in your life?
How's it happening for me instead of why did it happen to me? That's something I think I continuously practice, because I think from a young age, there's a little bit of a tendency to be victim mindset. You'd get attention for getting braces. You get attention for being hurt, for being sick, for being like, I remember like wanting braces so bad because I'd get attention kind of thing. And like, so it'd be like, so learning now, like as a relationship is just coming to a close in my life. It's recognizing that there's boundaries there, and there's certainly like anger and resentment and bitterness a little bit, but honoring those moments and recognizing that if it wasn't for the things that happened, this next chapter of my life would not unfold the way it's meant to. And both can exist at the same time. It's just, what do we choose to place our awareness on? You have it in the back of your thing. It's awareness. And so that's something I'm currently working on, is respecting that both are available, and one's to honor that the emotion and the grieving and whatever process it is, but also that something else is also presenting itself that I can celebrate, be looking forward to, and then dive 10 toes deep into, and then just really, really blossom into this next chapter. What about you?
That's so money, dude. I that's beautifully said.
Appreciate it.
Beautifully said. I think if we could all focus on one thing, that'd be the thing, that how is things happening for me. But you just sharing about that there is making me, just introspect in all the things, and being able to hold those two paradoxes. Dude, I think that's like maybe like one of the things that we could really distill what the meaning of life could be for many different people, is being able to simultaneously know we are this human being having a spiritual experience, and then knowing that you're this spiritual being having the human experience, like being able to sit there and be like, you know what? I'm infinite, so I can go eat this pizza, and I can both infinitely enjoy this pizza. That's limiting in some way, but I know I'm not. Like, it's that's what we're all working towards, I think. Be able to truly hold those at the highest we can and being able to enjoy it simultaneously. Like, that is got to be that's what just came up for me there.
Thinking about that, right? It's am I doing this out of whether fear or attachment, or am I doing this out of joy and excitement? The action's the same, but the intention, as we talked about, behind it is what is, are we going to judge ourselves for? Are we going to learn from, kind of thing? So I think being able to hold both of them there and just really asking yourself, like, why am I doing this, without having your own personal PR team answer it? Be like, I'm doing this because I'm emotionally hurting right now, and that's going to make me feel better. You're still allowed to do the thing, right? Like, you're still allowed to eat the pizza. It's just knowing that's why you're doing it. Like, and then from there, it's just like getting to know and build a relationship with yourself, your attachments, your relationship to self and things. And along the way, just recognize, like, the judgment and the criticism of the self is probably the place we got to work on next.
Yes. And it's funny how this is exactly what one of our beautiful fellow members in our community is going through right now in our chat, specifically focused on like their food journey. And it's exactly this, and getting the awareness that it's all just data collection. It's not, oh, this happened to me. It's, I did this. I was conscious and aware with it. I'm seeing that this is the outcomes, and I'm going to choose through this data collection, through this event that's happening for me, what I'd like to do with that, because I'm creating my reality. I'm not a victim of it. I'm always on the other side of that glass half full.
My mom's been using the term data collection. She goes, these two really good guys, these really smart, wise, educated, cute guys I know. She's like, they keep saying this phrase, data collection. It keeps popping up in my life all the time. It's just collecting data. And then you just learn and you recognize where it's going. I go, that's it. Like, that's perfect. So it's awesome, dude. I couldn't agree more. It's collect and observe the data, become the person who observes what's happening, and then just learn from it and give yourself a break. You're doing the best you can. And if you aren't doing the best you can, today is the first day where you get to start doing that.
The best time to plant a tree was not 20 years ago. It is today, now. Okay. And dude, that's a segue, because I feel like we're just data collecting on After the Bell. We're streamlining our process too. We're getting even more organic with it. This was fire, people. This was fire. Thank you so much for joining us. Ben, as always, somebody like you, thank you so much, brother. Couldn't do this thing without you. Everybody, signing off from After the Bell and the Fight Plan podcast with Triston Grant. Namaste.
Sending love, everybody.
I just seriously hope you enjoyed listening to that podcast as much as I enjoyed recording it with that guest and then breaking it down with Ben on After the Bell. If you really want to support us, the best way is to like and subscribe, to get connected on socials, the Fight Plan on Instagram and TikTok. And then finally, get in the WhatsApp community, where we talk about the real fights in life, but of course the fun hockey fights and fights in sports too. Thank you.